this recording. There we go. All right, wonderful. Well, today's topic is one that I receive a lot of questions about. And so we are going to talk about iPhone photography. And let me go ahead and share my screen with you. There we go. And if you have an iPad, well, everything we talk about today in regards to iPhone photography also works on your iPad, okay? So here's our course outline. I'm going to start with some key ways you can easily access your camera. Next, I'm going to talk about capturing the moment, along with the certain icons and features of your phone's camera or your iPad's camera. We'll talk about editing your photos, taking videos, finding, which is a big question I get all the time, finding and organizing your photos and videos in albums. And finally, we will talk about photo storage solutions. So first, I always like to know a little bit about you. How familiar are you with iPhotos and the camera? And what more would you like to learn today? And also, what model of phone do you have? And the reason I ask that is because on the most recent iOS update, Apple changed some of the features based on the type of phone that you have. But I'm going to assume that most of you have a phone that has a home button, or you have a 10, an XR, for instance. And so first, let's talk about the amazing technology that's inside your phone's camera. So you do have on the front of your phone, you have a camera on the front of your phone, and that is right there. And then you also have a camera and a flash on the back of the phone right there. So inside your camera, again, there's a rear facing camera and a front, and then there's a flash that's on the rear. And for the most part, that flash is automatic. So that is no longer something that you have to think about turning it on or off. The technology inside the phone will automatically determine if a flash is necessary. If you have a iPhone 10 or an 11, it looks similar to mine, you have a lens on the back of your phone along with the flash, and there is a filtering option inside of the phone. And there's a flood illuminator, which is a newer technology that they added in the XR a couple years ago. There's also an infrared camera and a dot projector, which is used to detect your Face ID at night. That's how that facial recognition for your Face ID works in the evening. And the infrared camera filters light. So there's a lot of amazing technology that's built in to our phones, and that's one of the reasons why we are paying so much for them. Okay, so now I want to talk about ways that you can easily access your camera. And I think it is so important to be able to get your camera, turn it on, and be able to take a picture quickly because those moments happen so fast, right? So I'm going to teach you 3 ways that you can do this. And the first way, whoop, the, I have to go back. I'm sorry about that. The first way is to access your camera from the home screen. Now, I always like to move my camera app to one of the corners of my home screen apps. This way, I know exactly where to find it on my phone. So if it's mixed in with all the other apps, it's hard to locate. So I want to encourage you, number one, to move it to the one of the 4 corners of your home screen. Okay, so that's the first way of easily accessing your camera. The second way is on your control center. There is a camera app on your control center. The control center is, I'm sure you've seen it. It's one of those things that when you know how to access it, it's so convenient. But if you don't know how to access it, it's a nuisance. So I want to show you how to access that. When you tap your phone, you can access your control center by swiping down from the top. I'm going to show you again. You access it by swiping down from the top. And right here is a camera app where you can tap on and then open up your camera. Okay, the third way, which is genius, and a lot of people overlook this. There is a camera button on your home screen. So go ahead and take a look right there and see that there's a camera button. Hey, it's right down there. And when you tap that, you don't need a password or Face ID to open up your camera app. When you tap there, the camera just opens up right away. So I think that the third option is the easiest way to access your camera. It is so fast and it's right there on your home screen. Okay, so there is some weird formatting here that's moving this on to the next screen. Anyways, I want to also teach you something that I consider a major convenience, and that is the camera app. When you open up your camera app, if you look down in the bottom left, there's your last taken photo. And when you tap on that, that opens the photo app for you and will take you to all your photos. And typically, I access my photos, the whole photo roll, directly from the camera app. I don't go into the Photos app. I just use that one application, the camera, and I go directly there to access my last taken photos, as well as all my other photos. I just find it so much more convenient to access it from one app. And truly, this is something that when you practice both accessing your app and accessing the camera app from the home screen, it just gets easier. So you don't really get luckier because this is a skill you're practicing and it gets easier. Now let's talk about capturing the moment. Your iPhone comes with so many pre-production features. all around the outside of that camera screen. And I want to go ahead and explain what all those icons mean. Okay, up at the top, you have a flash. Now, most often, the flash is turned off because your phone's camera has enough light coming into it. So you don't have to turn it on in order to take a picture with the flash. The flash will automatically make the adjustment for you. But if you look at that icon, it will have a little X through it or a line through it. And that's just letting you know the flash is off unless you want to turn it on. The second icon there is HDR, and that stands for high dynamic range. And what that does is it takes several photos at once at different exposures, and then it will combine them into one photo that gives you all the best features. That's what the HDR means. You also have a um, live photo feature. And with the iPhone 6s and later, you can capture live moments before you actually take the picture. And I think this is really great if you're, say, taking a picture of something in action, like maybe a pet moving or a grandchild. Your phone's camera also has a timer in it. So you don't have to be missing out on being in the photos. You can set the timer. And how you do this is you select the timer and then you choose whether or not you want a 3-second delay or a 10-second delay. Once you select that, when you are ready, you're going to go ahead and tap the shutter, that's the white button, and then it starts to count down, say from 10, and then you can get yourself set up in that photo, and you'll see the flash will flash 10 times before the photo captures the moment. Another really neat feature here is what's called a filter. And the filter looks like 3 different variations of gray circles. And our cameras, we can put a filter on before you take the picture and after you take the picture. So you can adjust the screen color however you want. Now, I know sometimes, let's just say, I'm taking a picture of a rug in my house. And when I take a picture of it, it may not be the true color that it is in person. And so I might make an adjustment to the filter so that it's more true to the color it actually is. And that is just something that I would do if I would say wanted to match drapery to that rug and have it to be true to color when I went out looking for the drapes. Let's talk about some of the camera modes that are at the bottom of your screen, okay? On the far left is the time lapse. And this would be great if you were going to take a picture of a sunset, for instance, or skyline. The slow-mo option is for a slow motion video, which would be great if you're going to take a picture, video at, for the grandchildren, maybe doing gymnastics or something, or jumping off a diving board, so you can get the whole experience in a slow motion video. The basic mode is just photo. That is the basic photo mode. A newer feature is called portrait, which brings in more light and coloring to a portrait, which is just like a face one-on-one screen mode. And then there's also pano, which stands for panoramic. And a panoramic is wonderful if you're going to take a picture of the whole scenery, for instance. And the phone guides you and tells you to keep moving along at a certain pace. If you're going too fast, it will tell you to slow down. So when you're ready to look at your last photo taken, it will always be in the bottom left of your camera image, bottom left. And when you click there, you can go and check your images to edit them, for instance, and we'll talk about that in just a moment. You can also reverse the lens. And the reason that you would want to do this is if you're going to take a selfie, that's like the selfie photo where you take one of yourself. And then that shutter is right there where the white circle is. That's your shutter. Let's talk now about editing your photos, okay? After you've taken your photo, you're going to click on that last photo taken to edit your images. That's right, it is right there. And when you edit your photos, the first place you want to go is tap on edit. And there you can adjust the size, the angle, the light, and the filter. So we're going to talk a little bit more about that. But I also want to tell you, if you get to starting editing and you want to go back, you can always select cancel and it will revert to the original image. Now, my go-to editing technique, I like to resize my photos. So if I want to zoom in a little bit more or do away with some of the background picture, I like to do the resizing. And when you want to edit your photos, there is this little wand up at the top right, which allows you to enhance the photo instantly. And so the photo will automatically improve your picture's exposure and the contrast and the saturation for you. So you don't have to be that photographer expert. So right, the next one is to crop and straighten, and that's sort of the resize that I was telling you about. I like to crop and straighten my photos if they're not the size I want them to be. And what you do is you just move the edges closer and closer, and then you can resize them that way. You can also straighten the photo. So if you take it and it's crooked, you can straighten it that way as well. After you've taken a picture, you can tap on filters and you can select a filter that would either bring more color or less color in. You can even make it black and white if you want to. If you don't like where you're headed and what you've been doing, you can always cancel to revert back to the original image. If you want to add in more light and color, you can by selecting the light and color icon, and you can make adjustments that way. And boy, can you make a huge difference by putting in more light or less light. You can even take a picture on a rather like at sunset. You know, sometimes those pictures look so good. It's like, it seems like it's such a great time to take a picture, and then you take it and it's so dark. Well, after you've taken that picture, you can add light to it to brighten it up. And that is an excellent post-production feature. When you're going to take a video or record a video, you can go into the video mode, which is just to the left of your photo. And I know when they Apple first put the video mode right next to the photo, there were times where I would accidentally go into video instead of taking a photo. And I just want to make you aware, hey, that can happen sometimes. The more you use it, the more you'll become aware of it. When you want to record a video, you're going to tap on the camera app, and then you're going to change the mode from photo to record. You're going to tap the record button, which is the shutter, now the record button. And you can always watch your timer up there to see how long your video is. And when you're done, you can tap the record button to stop. Excuse me, 1 second. You all know I have children, and once in a while they have questions, right? So thank you for being so understanding. Okie dokie, so let's see now. It's okay, Adam. All right. So I also want to teach you another feature here, and that is the pinch to zoom. So let's say that you start a recording and you want to pinch the screen to zoom in and out. And you can do that like when you're at a concert, for instance, and you want to take a recording of it, but you're sitting not as close as you would want to. You can pinch in to get a little bit closer. And you can do that when you are watching it after you take the video as well. Let's talk about finding your photos, okay? And I have clients ask me this all the time. I took a picture, I can't find it. I don't know where it is. Or you're scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and you can't locate the picture. Well, I want to show you how to find that photo. So on your iPhone and the iPad, the Photos app is organized into your library, For You, Albums, and Search. Okay, so first let's talk about your library. Your library is grouped into years, months, days, and all photos. So if you know what year or what month that picture may have been taken, you can then search for it that way. The For You tab is really neat because For You groups your photos into some of your favorite memories and also featured photos. These are photos that you go back to over and over and over again and look at. Also, your photo app gives you effect suggestions, which means if you want to enhance this photo, this is what your photo app is suggesting. Now, I do have a lot of people ask me about albums, and your photo app will automatically group your library into various albums of people, places, as well as media types. So I know that for a lot of people, when they start looking here and they see, oh my goodness, the photo app has already figured out who my grandchildren are and named them. And the photo app does that by facial recognition and repetitive photos. And we're going to talk more about creating albums in just a moment, because there is one other way that you can search for photos, and that's by using the search feature. So, like I said earlier, your photo app is categorizing regularly taken faces. You can search by face, you can search by moments. And these are the special moments that you go back to over and over again. You can search for places. And yes, your photo app knows where a certain photo is taken by having that location feature on or allowed. So you can search for key items like beach, or in the ski or snow, and your phone will search for photos that have that feature in them. You can also search for events like a concert or a wedding. Now, I want to show you something that I think is awesome, and this is in the album tab. And if you have recently deleted some photos, and then you can't find them, for instance, when you scroll to the very, very, very bottom of the albums tab, your recently deleted photos will be in there. I know, it's great. They're not gone. They stay in there for up to 30 days, which is wonderful. So, again, you look in the albums tab and you scroll down to the very, very bottom. There is one folder down there that's called recently deleted, and that's where you'll find them. Organizing your photos is a question that I get all the time. And I know that it's a preoccupation for a lot of people. And it's also something that when you start doing, I really think that you need to have a goal in mind of why you're organizing, because otherwise it could be a daunting process. But I want to show you how to add new albums. And then I'll show you how to put those photos into your albums. So you go to your photo app and you select albums at the bottom, and then you're going to edit. You have to get into an editing mode in order to add an album. Once you add a new album, you're going to need to enter the album title or the name of the album. And then from there, you click save. Okay. Once you've saved the album, at that point, you're going to go ahead and you need to select the photos. So let's say you've got your photos there and you want to select them. Once you have selected the photos, then you're going to tap that share button that's down at the bottom left. Okay. And when you tap that button, it takes you to another screen where you then need to tell it where you want it to go. And so you're going to have to scroll down and you're going to add it to your album. So when you do this, I want to encourage you to do about, if you're going to do a lot of editing, do about 10 at the most, okay? Don't try to move a bunch of them all at once. Do about 10 at a time, especially if you're going to start deleting. I just want to encourage you to do it in bite-sized chunks, because what happens is we get distracted, right? And we might start selecting, and then we get a phone call, and then we've forgotten what we were doing. So I want to encourage you to do it in bite-sized pieces. Do delete 10 at a time, or add 10 at a time to an album. This way, you are being focused and you're doing it methodically. Okay. Now, a lot of my clients, including my mom, will ask, I need to organize my photos. Can it be done? And I really think that it can be done, but it is more effective and you'll be more successful if you have a focus about it. So, for instance, let's say you want to create something with the photos of your granddaughter. So, in that case, I would recommend creating an album for your granddaughter and then only selecting photos for that album and not getting distracted on having to take on the whole project of all the photos. Just have a focus, complete that focus, and then you can start on the next album. Okay, that's my recommendation. Now, what I have been doing uh, for 20 years is I have been uploading all of my photos to Shutterfly.com. And Shutterfly has unlimited photo storage. Unlike Google, for instance, Google has, if you are a Gmail user, you can use Google Photos to store up to 5K of your photos, which is wonderful. Well, for me, I have a lot more than 5K of my photos. So I just decided a long time ago, all my photos, I'm going to upload them automatically from my iPhone to Shutterfly. Now, Shutterfly has an app and it's available at the App Store. And there's a setting where you can automatically upload your photos. You don't even know you're doing it. You don't even know it's happening, but it's happening. And that makes it very convenient. Now, what I do is I don't make any albums in my phone. I don't do any photo organization in my phone. I do it in Shutterfly. And the reason I do it that way is because I like to make books, for instance, for my children annually, or books from a trip, for instance. And so that is my focus. I'll do that in Shutterfly. And it's easier to do it also on a larger screen when you are doing this organization and creating. And also, I am not using my iCloud photos, my iCloud storage to store my photos, right? And that photo storage is usually what takes up so much of your iCloud storage. So instead, I have just been uploading them seamlessly to Shutterfly. Shutterfly has never told me I have too many photos or I need to buy more photo storage on their website. Never, not once in 20 years. And like I said, it has just been a wonderful process. I am never worried I'm going to lose my photos. And then I can even share my photos with family from there if I want to. And that is my recommendation to you. So here's my homework for you. I would like you to practice accessing your camera from the lock screen. Okay. Remember, we did that. That was one of the first things. And so the camera app is right there at the bottom of your lock screen. So I want you to practice that. You have to hold your finger down just a bit in order to open up the camera. So yeah, I want you to access your camera from the lock screen and practice this so that you're comfortable and you can do this quickly and easily like a pro. And then I also want to encourage you to access your camera from the control center. The reason I want you to do it this way is because when you access the control center, not only is the camera app there, but you have access, one-touch access to all of these other settings. So in addition to the camera, you can also adjust your screen brightness and the volume of your phone. Okay, so it's so handy. I really want to encourage you to use this, and I think you're going to love it once you get the hang of it. So again, on the phones without a home button, you're going to take your finger up at the top and drag it down. And right there is the camera button. All right, well, if you have any questions, please reach out to me, call me, okay, email me. I'll answer your questions. I'll get back to you. I can always help you remotely as well if you need that kind of assistance. And what I'll do later today is I will email Alicia a copy of this class, and that way you can watch it and start and stop it at your where you need to and practice these skills, okay? I'm so glad that you joined me today, and I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.